All right, welcome. Glad to have you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Happy Memorial Day to everybody out there. Guys, wave to the live internet audience. I don't know where the camera's over there. Yeah, no, it's over here. Yeah, it's
Which
over
one
here.
is it?
There's cameras everywhere. There's like 50 cameras, so that's not true. But anyway, thank you guys for tuning in tonight. It's live. This is about as unedited as it gets. And so we have a few questions, a few plans, but we're just going to kind of see how it goes. So literally, we're in our living room right here, and we just want to welcome you guys in your living room. So we're hanging out tonight. That's all we're doing, right?
Yeah, we don't know what we're doing.
This is my family away from family. These guys, when I walked in to VBF, high on meth, these guys were there, and they ruined my life, actually. I couldn't party anymore the same, and actually I found the real party, the real spiritual high with Christ. So I consider these guys. This is Pastor Ron Vietti, and this is Josh Vietti. So
yeah, and we're related, but we're all related actually.
Yeah.
So Brian actually comes over for Christmas and hangs out with us. So really we just wanted to kind of hang out tonight and just talk about some stuff and invite you guys into the living room. So. Pops, you want to take it from here?
I was reminiscing on the way down here, and this is Brian's 10-year anniversary, and I'll never forget the day that I'm always late for church. That's what I do. I'm late, and I drive up in the parking lot, and worship's been going for 15 minutes, and my little secretary runs out, and she goes, Pastor Ron, the guy from Korn's here, the guitarist Brian, he's here in the front row. And at that time, I didn't know a whole lot about Korn. And so I said, wow, that's
Did she say,
cool.
Hey, he's tweaking hard?
No, when I walked in, of course, I looked for you. And you remember you had a hoodie on? You had a hoodie on.
I was tweaking. I was hiding.
You're on the front row. And so I just did my thing. I just tried to put it out of my mind, did my thing. And then at the altar call time, you raised your hand and you prayed.
Yeah.
And do you remember that?
Oh, yeah, totally. Because I felt the peace in the place. And I was like, either that guy is like some kind of a cult leader and he has everybody fooled, or there's something here that makes sense and my life can change and God is real. But what happened was I did 4 lines of meth before I came to the church because I was an addict. And so I was up all night doing meth. And so when I got there, I was all paranoid. And I did feel the presence and the peace. I didn't know what it was. What I wanted to do was get Jesus inside of me, because you made it so clear that you could bring all of your garbage to him. You don't have to clean yourself up. You don't have to do anything. You just have to believe, ask him in your heart, pray and read the word, and fellowship with other people that believe, and God will start to show up in your life. So when I heard that, I was like, awesome, I got to get out of here because these people are freaking me out and I'm paranoid, and I'm going to go talk to Jesus until my life changes. So
I had to put it out of my mind. Here's this guy from Korn, and like I said, I've heard about Korn. In fact, I don't know, but a mutual friend of ours, Doug DeBerti, you're going to know Korn someday. You're going to know him. You're going to meet him, and you're going to be friends with him. And so I had to block it out of my mind and just kind of just preach your message. But then, I don't know if you remember this, but as soon as you raised your hand and you prayed, I went down to you. And it's kind of like you apologetically said, I'm in Korn. Like, I don't know if you remember that. And I thought, well, that's cool. And so you gave your life to the Lord. And then it wasn't but 3 or 4 days that my wife came to me and said, you got an Israel trip planned. Brian is supposed to go to Israel. I said, he's not going to want to go to Israel. She said, he's supposed to go to Israel. Wasn't it just a few days afterwards?
it was real, yeah, something like that. It was just, I remember I was still burning because I was off the drugs, and my mind was my heart was waking up, but my mind had still residue from doing speed for so long. So I was like a little cloudy, and I just remember one of you guys mentioning it, and all I was thinking was, I mean, I can go. This love I was feeling inside, I was like, I can go to the place where Jesus was walking. Yeah, I'll go in a second, you know. So it was like, I didn't even think twice about it.
That was so funny, because you went, and we didn't hardly know each other. And then we got to know each other very well on the trip. MTV traveled with us, right? Wasn't there a
Yeah,
camera
it was
person?
a show. It was, well, they were hired by MTV, and they're creating a show about spirituality, and I was going to be one of the figures or subjects or whatever, but it fell through and they never aired it.
Okay, I want to stop there. I want to come back to this in a second, but I have to be the guy that helps people ask questions here. So we have a Twitter handle. If you guys want to ask any questions tonight, we're going to get to that in a little bit after we tell a few more stories. So the Twitter hashtag is nCLive. So nCLive. And
Any question you want. People, we can take hard questions, anything. So don't be afraid.
Yeah, and I believe it is up on the screen, so should be soon if it's not. But nCLive, hashtag nCLive. Ask Brian any questions you want to ask him. Ask
Or
Pastor
Josh.
Ron. Don't ask me any questions. You don't want to hear my answers.
Any
but-
questions at all?
Yeah, so anyway, back to that. Brian, I remember when you first got saved, there was a verse that you had tattooed on your arm. It was in Matthew. What was it, 11:28, is that right?
Yeah, right here on my arm.
Oh, it's on your arm. It's on your neck. So that's how good my memory is. I have
it's okay.
I'm like 10-second Tom in Adam Sandler movie, but on your neck. But I just remember like you just went all in,
Yeah.
just all in, and that was.
And I haven't stopped. People are like, well, that won't last for a long time. It's just you get really spiritual high in the beginning and you're all, I got my eyelids tattooed last year.
Right.
Hebrew letters, or Hebrew words, Shekinah and Kabod and glory. So I'm still just as crazy.
I love the attitude you had. You just went for it. You just said, you know what, I did this whole thing, but now I'm going to live for God and see what happens. And you just jumped in with both feet. I mean, not many people do that.
Well, when I was young and I got into heavy metal music, I was like, I'm all in. This is me, And when I made it to the top, and the millions of dollars and the fame and the girls and the party and all that didn't satisfy, I was lost again. I was like, well, I was all in with that and I got it. Now I'm in and I'm miserable and I'm empty and it doesn't make sense. But so when I found out the answer for life, it was no brainer for me. I'm like, tattoos. Tattoos are forever and I'm never going to change doing this. And I found what life was worth, what life is all about and why life is worth living, And so, yeah, I'm a little radical that way, but I think a lot of people are nowadays, so it doesn't matter.
Brian probably doesn't remember this. I remember a lot of things that he probably doesn't remember. But you came up to me after a service and you said, hey, I want to get a tattoo. What do you think? And I said, look at you. I said, what does another tattoo hurt?
Yeah.
You've got them all over.
Yeah, I remember asking.
And then today, Josh, when people see me and they know I'm related to him or hooked to him some way, first thing they ask me, is he still serving the Lord? That's what I get asked all the time. So, hey, we got a smorgasbord of questions to ask him, and I hope we get comments, but you want to fire away?
We've got some tweets, some questions coming in, but let's just go ahead and, man, I don't know. What is it? I'm gonna ditch the list already, but
Okay.
what is the one thing that you've learned in the past 10 years that you just wish that you could tell young people that are tuning in, that know nothing about living for God? They don't know what they believe. They don't know where they are. I mean, what's the one thing that you just say to them? Say, hey, like, this is where I was. I mean, what do you?
The number one thing that has hit my life, impacted my life is, I believe, it's in John 14, and Jesus says, he who believes in me, he who loves me, my Father will love also, and we will come to him and make our home with him. And in the Amplified Version, it says that we will clearly see Jesus as alive and real. And that's the main thing. That's what you need, an encounter with Christ that shows over and over, you live this lifestyle. You see God move every day. You pray things, you talk to God. He does miracle answers where you're like, there's no way possible that it could be anything else but your communication with God when things happen. And that's what this generation needs, is that to know that he's real and that he will manifest himself to them. He will, in certain ways.
Real, that's the key word.
He doesn't walk in a room full of light, and just say, I'm Jesus, but he manifests himself in certain ways in different ways, in unique ways to everybody. And so that's the number one thing that my message is, that Jesus is real. Christ is real.
great.
He truly is the Son of God, and he'll show you. Well, I don't believe that. It doesn't matter. He is, and he'll show you. Well, I haven't seen nothing. Well, he will show you if you go after it and don't stop until you see the truth, and yeah, that's really important to me.
Is that crazy or what? Because, you had me write that book, Tribal Influence, and Brian's part of our tribe because everything he said, that's what we live. I got a question I have to ask you, because if we don't get time, this one has to be asked. If Jesus came back today, do you think he would be seen as socially relevant or more of a heretic?
I bet you he would be called New Age, because he'd be doing so many miracles. People would be like, that's not biblical, that's not in the Bible. Well, it seems to me that in the Bible it says that they couldn't even record all the things he did, the miracles he did, because there wouldn't be enough books in the world to write them all. So I think he would be making people that follow Jesus. Jesus would be making people that follow Jesus really uptight and upset, and they'd be searching the scriptures.
He'd break all of the boundary lines
Yes.
I think we've drawn up. Brian, again, what you said a while ago is so refreshing, because, see, I come to know God before I came to know the Bible. A lot of people are trying to find God through the Bible, and I think you're the same way. You came to know God before you really knew all about the Bible.
Yeah.
And that is an advantage, a tremendous advantage.
It's not God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Bible. It's God the Holy Spirit, and the Spirit is here, alive, and always moving. It's like the wind, and so we're just, that's the excitement. That's the excitement about life. And the Bible's good. The Bible's great. I got such a great foundation with the Bible. I devoured it for years and years and read it over and over, and then the spirit of revelation opened up, and I just learned all about things, about the supernatural, about suffering, about what hardships produce, and all that stuff. And now I'm really strong, and I still read the Bible, but it's not my everything, to where, it's like Jesus is the Word, and so we're supposed to be. The words on the paper are supposed to springboard us into a relationship with the living Spirit. It's so important.
No, I think when I sit here, I just go, wow, this guy's part of my tribe yet. You haven't veered off at all, because I really believe what you're saying. Now, Josh, you got a question?
We have a Twitter question coming in, but we'll just keep the thought rolling, because I think it's going really well. How do you stay connected through the quiet times, and how do you push through? From Tanya Kimball. So thank you for that question, Tanya.
Tanya, push through. I've noticed that there's seasons, and there's seasons for like ministry, and where things in my life anyway. Like I hit the road, and it's like go, serve, play the concerts, serve the people, entertain my guests, go out and gather the people, tell them my story. And it's harder to get quiet time. When I have days off, I'll do the quiet time, and just the contemplation, where I'm just there with music on, and I can focus my heart, because it says that we are in Jesus and Jesus is in us. So there's that mystery of that relationship where I could just sit there and just soak it up. But there's times when I get off the road, there's times where I'm like a caveman. I won't even leave my house, and I'm just like, I'll do. I think there's that girl that was called Hannah before the Messiah came. She was fasting and praying all day and all night, and I turn into that when I get off tour. I'm like a caveman. I'll pray for hours, and and so that's the time for that. But then when I get my daughter, it's like time for that, and so it's about going with the flow of life.
Ecclesiastes, right?
Yeah.
Time for this.
Yeah.
Season for this. I used to get frustrated because I felt like it was really dogmatic. Like you had to pray for 30 minutes in the morning and read your Bible for 30 minutes, and then go throughout your day. And I learned that it's different for everyone. And honestly, for me, I would overcomplicate it a lot of times. It's just simple. When God says slow down and stop, right?
Yeah.
You do it.
Yeah.
When He says go, you go, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I've learned. I think that's great. I remember when you first got saved, one of the things you did when you were all in, I came over to your house and you were up on your roof. Literally, like, I'm not kidding, like, on his roof. Like, he had to climb. how'd you even get up there, dude? I don't even know how you got up there.
He got on my roof. When you stayed with me, you were on my roof, because in the Bible it says they went to the rooftop and prayed.
When I read something in the Bible, I did it.
And I'm not saying that to, like, embarrass you, Brian.
My bad.
Honestly,
It was great.
It was cool because you actually got away from everyone. I think you're used to people just being around you all the time.
Yeah.
And you had to do whatever you could just to get alone, and you just got alone. And that impressed me because you didn't care. You didn't care what other people thought. You just had to do what you had to do.
I mean, I was a little whack, but
That's good.
the heart was right.
No, but it was super cool. Yeah. Honestly, I loved it. I loved the attitude and the heart.
Awesome. Remember we were baptizing like a bunch of people in my pool and everything? Like, there was a handful of people. Like,
it
was just crazy because like that pool was not used for good things before, and there it was. I mean, it was, but here we are, like, baptizing people in there. So it was pretty cool.
You know too, Brian, and this probably kind of switches streams totally, but I'm not going to embarrass you here, but I saw an article.
You can embarrass me all you want.
An
I'm
article
not
today.
with
Josh, there's an article today, the top 10 metal guitarists in the modern era right now, and Brian's number 3. Okay, that's pretty doggone good rating. And I saw the article today, and I've got to ask you this question because you've arrived at some height of notoriety.
Right.
I mean, a lot of people would like to have the notoriety you have. I look at your Facebook friends, your Twitter friends, and I go, oh my goodness, I'd like to have those. Now, here's the question. We see a lot of young people that get notoriety, and you have it, like it or not. How do you stay humble? How do you deal with it? Because when you go out, if I go with you to a restaurant, people know you, they recognize you. How do you stay humble?
To be honest, it's just like I said a second ago, I'm not impressed with myself. I'm staying at my parents' house right now in a little tiny bedroom. Like, I'm always that guy. We're all the same. We all, wake up in the morning, we have breakfast, we go to the bathroom, and we do our duty in life, and and it's just we're all the same, and it's just. It doesn't really matter, all that stuff. And if you look at the article, the number 3 most influential, basically the article says, even though we're not very good, we still have to be included in that because of our influence. So that says it right there.
I didn't read that part.
Because all the rest of the guitar players are like great guitar players. But those guys are saying, I know we're going to get some backlash for this because these guys aren't like the technical, but they had an influence on a lot of people.
So how do you handle that? How do you handle the negative? Because like you get a lot of positive press and but there's also a lot of negative with being known, right? Like how do you handle that? I mean, that's something that the reason I'm asking is because there's probably some talented kids out there that could do some amazing things, but they're afraid probably to do anything because they don't want to be scrutinized.
Yeah, that's true, but there's a disconnect where I don't really care about anything. It's like when Jesus says, and Peter, one of the Peters, he says, cast your cares upon him. Or Peter says, cast your cares upon Jesus because he cares for us. That literally means like to make yourself not care about things like that. Like, I don't care. And I used to get riled up at religious people.
It's literal, right?
Yeah. Well, religious people would be like, whatever. We can't have tattoos. Some of the Christian radio is like your music's too depressing. I'm like, I'm basically saying what like David in the Psalms was saying. He's losing his life. And I lost all my stuff. I went through bankruptcy. I was right. I need you. I'm crying out for God in song. And so people are just saying a bunch of stuff. And then I go back to Korn, and before they hear the story, they're bashing me. So I would backlash at them and say, religious idiots and all that. But I've since learned to really not care about what anybody thinks. So, I mean, I think the answer for that is to have Christ in you because He is humility itself. And so, I've always been told that I was like a really nice guy even before I found Christ. But just having Him who is humility Himself, the very definition of humility living inside, keeps me way grounded, even more than I was before.
That's what I like about Brian and what he's saying. For those of you that are listening and watching, I mean, we know the guy, and this is the Brian. That's why I want to know how he balanced all of this. There's some questions, so many questions we wanted to ask you and wanted to let the people hear the answers to. But we're doing a real thing right now. We're looking at the church. Where is it heading? Where is it going? And I preached a sermon Sunday on I think that God wants the church to get not bigger but smaller. And when I said that, I meant like small groups, big churches having small groups, a lot of fellowship taking place. You travel around the church world a lot more than me. Where do you think the church is heading? Where are we going in the next 10 or 20 years?
I mean, I think that we need to go. I don't know like where it's going for sure, but what I want God to do is just show up and show off more, and make the unseen realm come to the seen realm more. I mean, and I love the way you do it, because like there's been people you've prayed for, and there's been power that come on them, and they like jolt back, you know, and you try to downplay it because you don't want that, because there's been so many people on TV or whatever doing this and that, flashy and making, you know, doing all that religious-y stuff. Where, but I love the fact, I love how you do it, where it's just, if God does it, he does it, and you can't make God not do it, because he is power, he's love, he's power, he's everything. So I would just love to see just supernatural things happen more, like, you know, where people get healed and on the streets. And I got friends that, this guy, Tom Fisher, he has a YouTube channel, he has over 1 million views. And I think last time I heard, he was like doing yard work still. He's not trying to build a ministry, but he goes out and he prays for people, and almost everyone gets healed on video. And so he puts it on, and people are skeptical, and they're like, my pain's gone, and stuff like that. It's so cool. And he's not flashy, he's just a normal guy, you know. And so I would love to see that open up more. And the church has to get away from they just got to get God out of the box, you know. And just like me going back to Korn, there's foul language, and there's people partying left and right in the audience where we go. But like that has to change, where people are like, that can't be God. It's like, you know, I was like that too. So I'm not bashing everybody. I was like, I remember thinking like I couldn't be in that band, and I couldn't because of my daughter. But like for other reasons, I was like, that's not who I am, because it really isn't who I am. Some of the lyrics, you know. But the point is that there's a positioning that I know that I'm supposed to be there with my tribe of people right now for a purpose. And so rather than people just bashing the stuff like that and going on social media and just bickering back and forth, it's like that has to change. So I'm hoping that really changes, and that people mature, you know?
Well, did you hear he said, for right now? See, that's the way Brian walks. And that is either God is or he ain't. And right now, that's where I'm at.
I could be gone in 2 years doing something else. Like, I don't know.
People are putting pressure on me because they knew, again, I had a connection to you. They wanted you to go around to junior high groups and entertain them all over the world. And that wasn't my way of seeing Christianity in the kingdom. And so I am so thankful that you're a light in the darkness. And have you seen, Josh, maybe you haven't seen, I have seen it on Facebook, YouTube, I don't know where I saw it. But you guys praying with people in the back room after Korn concerts.
We do it every tour now. Every tour we, no, it's not even the back room. We go out into the crowd. We get the buildings, and it seems like all the buildings just love what we do. They're like, do you need a stage? Do you need a roped off area?
Wow.
And so we're like, you know, our bros in Slipknot, we're on the Slipknot tour, and everyone just loves each other. It's like, even these evil bands that people think, we're out there and we're just all friends, and they don't care that we're going out and praying for people. They're like, hey man, whatever makes you happy. You know, if you want to go smoke some weed, go smoke some weed. If you want to go pray for Jesus to people, go do that. Whatever makes you happy. So it's not like people are afraid, you know. And so what we do is we gather people around, like 30 to 100 people a night, and we just hang out with them, love on them, and tell our stories. And people get radically touched, or sometimes they don't want nothing to do with it, and sometimes they just want pictures. We don't care. But we do that every night, and it's really cool how it happened, because we didn't really try to do it. It just kind of fell into place, and now we're doing it all the time.
That is so refreshing.
Yeah.
Well, you know, again, if you were God and you were running the universe, wouldn't you have Christians in every area of life? I mean, every area of life. You'd place them everywhere as lights. For example, we have a man in the studios tonight that was in a very rock group, very hard, even harder than Korn, I think. And you wrote me one night and said, pray for this guy. And he's a part of our church now. He's a Christian. And that wouldn't happen without you being in that arena.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know what you have to add to that, Josh, but I think this is like the coolest thing ever.
Honestly, I just love the fact that you aren't allowing that pressure from the church or from other people to dictate what you're doing. That impresses me. And I think that if the church would just do that more, if the church leaders would be cooler about it with the congregation, and if they would just say, hey, you guys follow God, and this is all we're doing. We're learning how to follow God. And there was a book that I was reading a while back, and I'll have to remember the name of it, but it talked about how it gave like an analogy of how the church is like ranching. And this guy's an Australian guy, and so he talks about how in Australia the land is so vast that instead of building fences to keep their cows inside, all they have to do is provide a water source. But here in the United States, we build fences. And he was giving this analogy that church leaders sometimes build fences because they want to keep their flock together, right? Yeah. And instead, that we should just be a water source. Like, we should just go out in the driest of lands, which is exactly what you're doing. I mean, not that I'm sure there are Christians who go to your concert. There are people of all different faiths, and they're good people, you know what I mean?
It's a mix. It's really mixed.
It's a mix, yeah. There are good people, bad people everywhere, right? Yeah. But when it comes down to it, if you're giving something that's bigger than you to the people around you, they're going to come back for that, right?
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing.
Josh, there's a question that came up, and I don't want to miss if they can flash that back up. This is going to be a lot of people's questions from Brian L. Judy. It says, Brian, how do you overcome struggles with your past addiction? Do you still struggle with that? Because I'm in the same boat. Here's somebody's crying out going, how do you do it, Brian? Because I saw you locking yourself in your house. You were sweating. I'd come over. Talk to that person. That's crazy.
How you do it is you spend time with Christ alone. Like so many people, come and they pull on pastors, like, feed me, oh gosh, feed me the word. I need the word. It's Sunday. I need the word. Well, if they're already filled with the word, then they would just be able to not suck the life out of you so much and just gather together. And it's like, the most important thing that I've learned in this is that one-on-one relationship with Christ. I mean, He died to open up the heavenly realms to us, that we can be one with God. It says that those who are joined with the Lord are one spirit. You have to come to that revelation of how that you are one, and come to the revelation that who you are. When in fact, you're not that person that's struggling with drugs. That's not the truth. The truth is that you are God's son, and you share in His divine nature, and that you are a king and a priest to Him, and that's the reality. You may feel like you're addicted, but that's a lie. It's a lie that you got to get through. But as you spend more time with Jesus and don't give up, that's a lot of people give up. Yeah. And when you spend so much time with Jesus, you start to get transformed into His image. And no matter how many times you fall, it might be, I fell like once or twice afterwards with drugs. But it left after that. And I've heard some stories where people, struggle for a few years, and then there comes a day where it's just like, bam, they're changed.
I've heard that same story.
Let me just read it. Yeah, you don't even know how wise the words were you just spoke, right? You just talked about feelings being a lie. Like, you feel like you're still addicted, but you're not. When God sets you free and Christ sets you free, you're free, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the truth.
Yeah.
I was there when I came by your house when that day that you threw the last of your meth away. And you showed me a video. You're like, hey, check this out. And I threw it down the toilet. And I think sometimes just those choices of just being serious about it too. Right?
Gosh, if people would just get what Brian's saying again, man, I'd like to get Brian on the stage more, because he's saying it so right. Mm-hmm. Apostle Paul said, I can do all things through Christ Jesus who strengthens me. I told a lady one time, Brian.
I got that right there.
Yeah, right there. I told a lady. What's that?
What
yeah, she said that she was having a hard time with drugs. She said, man, I just find myself on any given day driving to my drug pusher's house, and I challenged her. I said, try tomorrow when you're on your way to a drug pusher's house, pull over and say, Jesus, I have a problem with drugs, but you don't have a problem with drugs, so become strong in me right now. She came back the next week and said, it worked. It worked. Again, it's His power, not ours. Is that right?
Yeah. Oh, my gosh, so good. It's so good. And, it's just, and I know I'm not downplaying it to where it doesn't sound like real life, where I know that you feel that addiction and everything, but I'm saying spend time with Jesus. Just like you told me on the stage when I first went in there, I spent time with Christ, and all the bad things in my life couldn't stay. if I pressed into Christ and I read the Bible and I developed my relationship with Him, sooner or later everything's got to go.
Yep.
That's not Him.
Yep.
And you said that from the stage, and exactly what happened in my life, And so it'll happen for yours,
Amen.
and
That's
whoever.
right. Well, Brian had asked me too, right after I got saved, said, do I have to leave Korn? And again, going back to what Brian's preaching today, I said, just get close to God. He'll tell you.
It's funny because you and Doug DeBerti, they're like, you guys were telling me, I think, Doug was telling me, stay there. He's like, stay there. The guy that brought me to church was telling me, stay in Korn. And Pastor Ron was like, I'm not telling you what, basically God will show you what to do. And so when Doug was telling me that I should stay there, one day I got an overwhelming feeling that I'm supposed to go home and leave Korn and be with my daughter. And that was that phase of my life where I was going to get to know my new life. And then after a certain number of years, so many years that I thought it could never happen, the door opened and now here I am back in Korn. So it's about what he says. Yeah, it's a relationship. Mm-hmm. And you give your life. Jesus gave his life for all of us on the earth. He gave everything. So what we do is, if we love him, like the scripture said in John 14, like I said earlier, if we love him, we give him our lives. And so I gave him my life. And he was like, hey, come out of Korn, raise your kid, be a dad. And then my daughter grew a couple horns, teenage devil horns. No. And then, so he sent me back. He's like, hey, why don't you go back into Korn? Let me take care of your daughter. And she's my daughter first. And then I'll raise her up to, she's going to be 18 next year. So it's so it's just a matter of the relationship. And he says, go here now. Go here now. And
he's hearing God, Josh, because Janaea, what a beautiful young lady. Love her. And you made some moves with her, and I'm going, man, I hope he's hearing God. I don't know if I'd do that, but you are hearing God, and the proof's in the pudding.
Yeah, and I was, believe me, I was scared to do that. What I was, she was in the boarding school, and I was like, if this isn't God showing me to do this, then I'm going to ruin my relationship with this girl. And so what happened was just personal things that God showed me was 100% in fact him doing this, and I was like, okay, I could rest easy. Yep. And yeah, the proof's there. You can see her now.
Pudding,
okay, time flies. It's 8:32. We're going to go for a few more minutes, and then we're going to close up. But here's another question from Andrew Brown. It says, hey, Head, since you've rejoined the band, what would you say has been the most spiritually satisfying moment you've had? That's probably hard to narrow it down, but maybe just give one that pops into your head.
I'd say the most spiritually satisfying moment was a month-long thing that happened. It was right before I had joined Korn back in 2012. And, like I said, I'm like a caveman. I go away with God sometimes. And sometimes, it's a little bit spiritually too much for people to hear when I say I spend hours a day with them, and I'll just go through phases. And even sometimes when I do that, God's like, hey, man, stop being so spiritual and go live life like a normal person for a while, Yeah. But this time I was there, and I felt God's presence in my house so strong. It felt like heaven had touched my house, and like I had a piece of heaven in my house. I wouldn't leave for a month. And it was the most awesome experience of my life. And it was there that I think he was transforming me to say, just to go and follow that path back to where I left, And so
big decision.
That was very satisfying.
Yeah.
I love that month. I want another month like that, Lord.
Well, that should cinch it up for people that were questioning that decision of yours.
Yeah.
You made the right call.
Why is the church so negative?
I don't know.
They look for Brian to fall.
They look for everybody to fall.
They
look for negativity, right?
Yes, yes. You don't know how many times I was asked that question. Is he still serving the Lord? Well, do you think he's still serving the Lord? Is he going to continue? Is he going to make it? And I don't know if that first interview I had with you, I said, I know this guy's going to make it. I know. Something inside of me has told me this is the real deal. And boy, you have proven that so
And
right.
I appreciate that too, because sometimes I struggle with doubts and frustrations, and I see you guys leading, and I see you guys just encouraging people, and I think it's cool. And I'm speaking for a lot of people that really appreciate that, to look at people and say, hey, you know what, we got this, we can do this.
And I appreciate you guys, because you yourself encouraged me so much in the beginning too, and I wouldn't be able to encourage people if you weren't doing that with me in the beginning, and you, of course, too. And so, just to all be right here. It's just
that's why we're calling this little web show that we're doing nCourage, because that's really what we're called to do. We're called to encourage and lift each other up and say you can do it. There's too many people saying you can't, And that's just.
Can I go back to something, because I know we got cut off, and maybe there'll be some more good questions come in. And you might not even want me to bring this up, but what happened that day in Israel, the Jordan River, when you got baptized? I mean, this is crazy, because we had when we showed up there, we had, I think, CNN TV, had all these TV cameras and stuff. What about that wind thing? That wasn't our imagination? Did you remember that? We went to baptize, and this wind came sweeping down through the river.
Totally, and we were just all like, oh my gosh, how about this? If you go to my book, it's not a book plug, you don't have to buy it, just go to the store and look at this picture. One of the guys
you can buy his book. It's a really good book.
New York bestseller.
Just saying.
Or just get a coffee and read the whole thing. It's a quick read right there and put it back on the shelf.
Just don't take it in the bathroom. You seen that Seinfeld? Anyway, sorry.
In the book, there's a picture, and in the picture, there's a dove, a white dove, right in the middle of the picture, like this, like posing. What happened was one of our friends got his camera out to take a picture, and it went off accidentally. And right there, after we got baptized, there's a white dove floating right in a room. There's no bird supposed to be in that room. There's a building. And so it was right after the baptism, and when Jesus came out of the water, the dove, the Spirit came on him, like, you're the pastor.
Oh, I remember that. We were in the upper room where the day of Pentecost took place.
Yeah.
Isn't that where we were at? Wasn't that it?
Yeah, I think so.
And there was a dove, a white dove in there.
Caught right in the middle of the picture, not to the corner over here. It was just like right there, just signs and wonders, and just like the wind. It was a sign and a wonder, and Jesus. Look, it says signs and wonders will follow those who believe. That was a sign that followed.
I think it's love taps. I think it's again. There's all kinds of religious people out there would go, oh yeah, give me a break, yeah, whatever. But I think those are love taps from God, and I see them all the time. Yeah. And we saw that white dove, and I've been in that room several times since in Israel. I've never seen a dove in there, a white dove, never. And whether it was a pigeon or dove, it looked like a white dove. But I know we have to go on, Josh. What do we have?
No, let's hang for a while. You don't got sponsors?
Oh, we don't. We have zero sponsors.
Can I ask you guys a couple questions?
Yeah, what's up?
So, okay, when I walked into your church, it was like so non-judgmental, and I even heard that there was like some maybe former like murderers and prostitutes and all, and I was like, this is scarier than a Korn concert here at this church. And so how did you guys get to the place where you felt free? Because I know I struggle with being a little too religious on my own, and I know you guys must have been at that when you were younger in the faith too. So how did you break through from that to get just where you're at now, and to welcome people like me and just the people that aren't that don't have it all together? They're really rough around the edges.
Josh, be thinking about how you want to answer that question, but I know that in the Bible it said that Jesus was the friend of sinners. Okay. And the closer I get to the Lord, the more I like these kind of people. I mean, honestly, the people that I love are the tatted out thugs, prostitutes. I don't know why, but I'm drawn to them. And Brian, I think the only answer is Jesus within me. He was the friend of sinners. And those are the people that know they're messed up, they know they're hurting, and they're the easiest people in the world to minister to. And I guess just Jesus, because that's the people that I love.
Yeah.
And we don't judge them, whatever. And I don't know what your take is, Josh.
My heart goes out to people that mess up a lot, because I'm at the top of that list. I mean, I honestly mess up a lot, and
it's so good that you said that, because that's
definitely the top of that list.
Because it's not like I'm the Jesus-like person and they're the sinners. We're the same.
Yep.
Yeah.
I just got set free out of my thing because of Christ, else I'd be right there doing the same thing. Yep. And it's like, when I talk with them, people are drinking around me, people are, I can't be around the powder. No one's sniffing those things around me. But like if someone's smoking weed or whatever, it's like, I just want to be friends with them, and it's just, I don't even think about it. And sometimes I'm not even thinking about, spiritual stuff. I'm just hanging out, having a good time, loving on these people, And,
well, I look at the book of Job, right? And this guy loves God with all his heart. And God doesn't take it. He allows everything to be taken from him. Everything. And so he has nothing. And I try to whenever I get frustrated or scared or nervous, or even if I feel something should be going a certain way, I try to think of Job, and I think I'm nothing like Job. That's who I am, and that it takes stress away. It really does. Like, I have nothing, I am nothing. It takes all the stress away.
But Josh,
what do I have to lose?
What I hear Brian saying, and I'm listening very closely. I was in the gym the other day working out, and I saw this guy used to be on fire for the Lord, and I looked at him and I said, "You off your meds?" He said, "What?" I said, "You're off your meds, aren't you?" See, we're all chronically ill with sin. And it's Jesus. All the glory goes to him. If I stay in the word prayer and I stay in him, I'm strong. But if I get out of him, I'm the same old person again. So that's probably, as you said, Josh, why we don't judge those people, because at the mercy of God, there goeth I. And when I'm off my meds, I can be that person again.
That's good.
We're all in the same boat, and that boat could sink at any time, and the only Savior we have is God, and it's like He's our life raft. So it's like, I don't know, I'm just...
You know what's crazy? It's like when I get confused sometimes, I mean, I was like this too, but like, because there's probably people, I guarantee you, there's people watching going, like these poor guys, they still think that it's real, they still are imagining that this God thing. And after all the things that I could tell them and all the signs and all, I mean, it's like, to me, it's like, saying that you're not in a relationship with your wife, it's that real to me. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Even though God is not standing right here, He is in the spirit. He's right here. Hey, Jesus, how's it going? No, but He's with us in the unseen realm all the time, and it's as real as like a best friendship, or even closer than that, like a marriage. It's like it's closer than a marriage, and no one can tell me otherwise, because it's like you're trying to tell me that I'm not in love with someone, and it's a true relationship. So it just freaks me out. What do you think about that, being a pastor, like how people just can't see?
Brian, I think that people aren't becoming childlike enough. I'm with you. Our faith is so childlike. But I said something to somebody the other day who was trying to intellectualize everything, and I know you'd agree with me. I said, honestly, if someone came up to me, which this would never happen, and they said, the Bible is false. It's been proven. Overnight, it was proven. The Bible's false. It's a bunch of malarkey. It's a false document. How would that affect your life? And I said this, and I know you say the same. I said, probably not one iota. Because I know who I walk with. And I walk with him for 40 years. And he's as real as Brian's sitting next to me right here. God is one of the most real things in my life.
It's more real than any of the relationships. I mean, why do you think people have knives put to their throat and they do not deny Christ and they get their heads chopped off? Because it's that real.
Which is happening right now.
ISIS the other day, well, those 30, 40 guys they killed, right before they killed them, they shouted out, Jesus Christ. See?
Yeah.
It's hardcore.
It's that real.
Right,
if it, and it's like, in some of the other faiths and all the different religions and stuff, I don't want to bash any of those people, and I honor all of them and what they believe, and whatever they want to do is fine. But this is the only thing that will come with a guarantee and a deposit. You actually get something from heaven, and God says that the deposit is the guarantee. It's the Holy Spirit, and that's given to you as a down payment for what's to come. So God takes, if you step into this and start believing, it gives you that deposit, and you get a piece of that heaven inside of you. And that's what I'm carrying around. And that's the heaven that I encounter all the time in this way or that way, or, different unique ways in my own life. But, I just want to convince everybody that to take the deposit and to build that deposit. And it's so real, man. Oh.
Brian, can't we take this even further? Because, again, I'm with you. I'm not knocking other religions. People want me to do that. Knock these other religions. Say they're all wrong. I am so caught up in, I found something. It's like the coolest of cool. What I found is so neat. I don't want to knock other religions or other people. I don't have any desire to do that at all. I'm too caught up in what I'm doing. And I found something that's sweet, and I don't know how it could get sweeter. And so, but can you speak to that? There are people that want us to knock the other religions, the other faiths. They want us to do that. And I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to knock everybody else. I want to talk about what I found.
This is a good question.
Is that a good one?
Sorry,
Okay.
I don't want to
interrupt. This is what it's about.
I'm sorry. It's just a really good one. Tina at NC, she's not at NC Live. We're at NC Live. I met a woman on meth. She knows I'm a believer and wants to hang out, but condemns herself while I'm trying to encourage her. That's interesting because I've seen that happen before. Like
Okay.
people just don't feel.
Can Brian, you want to speak to that?
Take her to Colossians. I forget which one it is, but it's in Colossians, and it says that that we are completely, that girl is completely free from any accusation, and she's completely blameless, and she's completely perfect in his blood. That's the truth. What she has to do is just get that. She has to believe that. She has to believe that she is perfect and completely blameless, because that's what the word says. And Jesus became that awful thing that she's done. Jesus became sin so that we could become the righteousness of God in Christ Jesus. So it's just like, it's basically she has to accept the best gift that has ever been given in the universe, which is undeserved perfection. You know,
That is great.
It's Colossians 1:22. It says, "But now He has reconciled you by Christ's physical body through death to present you holy in His sight, without blemish, free from accusation."
That's one version. Go look at some other version. It's like, you are done. You're completely blameless,
This is
free
what-
from accusation. Nobody can condemn you. I don't care how many lines or how many needles you put up your arm.
Yes.
Google prefers NIV, so I don't.
Go-
what do I do?
My bad, Google.
Yeah.
That's a
You're
good. That's a
fired,
good call,
Google.
though, man. Just share the word, because the word is actually pretty encouraging, right? I mean, it's got some gnarly parts, but
It's the truth, you know. It's
yeah.
the
Well,
truth.
Brian, another question I had, maybe there's some better ones here, Josh. Yeah, I like this one. You see this one? Hope I'm pronouncing your name right, Mina Rosti. Oh, that's an interesting name. She says, where do you see yourself 10 years from now, mentally, physically, and spiritually?
I think that's, is that Reza Rasta's? I think that's my friend's sister.
Gideon Reza, sister. Yeah, that's what
If
it
it
says.
is, I know
Yeah.
you. What up,
Yep.
girl? What was the question?
Where do you see yourself 10 years from now, mentally, physically, and spiritually?
Physically, probably about 198. Spiritually, oh man, I can't wait to see where I'm spiritually in 10 years. Oh wow, I've changed so much in the last year.
True. It's true.
So much more. And just, okay, I don't want to freak you out. I haven't told you this, and I'm not, I'm not a flake. I'm not a weirdo. But I've asked 10 years, not every day, but I've asked a lot. Jesus, I want to see you. I want to see you. I want to see you. And just 2 nights ago, it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. It was kind of a rebuke, but I saw Jesus in my dream, and He came to me, and we were with friends and stuff. And what, I'm not going to say the whole dream, but the thing was, He was like kind of showing me how my heart sees Him in some wrong ways, and so there was things that He was doing that was like, and I woke up and I was like, wow. That was Jesus in my dream, but like that was not even glorious like I thought it would be. It was like, and then as I went through the day, it was kind of Him showing me like how my heart was viewing Him in wrong areas. So just want to see that, and spiritually in 10 years, I just can't wait to see where I'm at with God now, And so everything gets exciting. I go through trials. I'm kind of in a trial right now with my stomach, and I can't eat very much. I lost 15 pounds, and I got knocked out last week at the hospital, and so I'm going through like a desert time right now. But like every time after those, I'm like lifted to another mountain, and I'm like, oh gosh, life is so good. Da, da, da. So I can't wait to see where I'm in 10 years. Physically, I'm gonna be probably older, and
Like all of us?
Yeah.
Josh, what have you seen? I've seen a big difference in Brian.
Yeah,
Man, in 10
definitely.
years, you're not the same guy.
But I've also seen some similarities. A lot of people lose their fire over the years, and you haven't.
No.
That's cool, But yeah, you've definitely.
I mean, the changes I've seen, of course, in the beginning days, of course, you were battling, you're getting over that drug thing and all that. But I've just seen maturity, and I mean, you've grown fast, and so I'm with you. In 10 years, this guy's going to be even deeper and deeper. But how much more time do we have left? I don't even know about this show.
Let's do. Well, we didn't decide really how long. I think we thought 8:30 would be a good time to end it. So.
I got one thing I want to share before we wrap up.
8:45. It's 8:50, dude. There's no time.
Cool.
So we scratched that. Like I said, we have no plan. So it's the internet. It's live. So if people are still watching, I don't know.
Think of something.
Hey.
Think of
Is
something.
anybody still there?
Anybody there? So,
Need a bathroom break? Hold it. Hold it, because
oh yeah, okay, let me share this cool thing. This is how untraditional and unreligious God is. The other night, I was at a Korn concert. We played with every band out in metal. Slipknot played one night. The guys from Van Halen played on our stage earlier in the day, and it was just like Breaking Benjamin, and who played right before us was Marilyn Manson. And so what happened was there's a couple, one of my friends in Mushroom had told me that one of their band members and their wife had gotten cancer. And so she came, and we got to pray with her and her friends for healing, and they all received the Lord. So after that, I go up on stage, and they got this organization called F Cancer, and it's like, I'll just say that because it's your church thing. No. So you know what?
can't bleep it.
So it's like, yeah, it's F Cancer, and they bring the cancer patients up and let them meet the bands and watch from stage.
That's
And
neat.
so I was up there
cool.
getting ready to go on stage, and Korn's getting ready to go on. 50,000 people out there, 50,000, somewhere around there. And they're all screaming, and I send my friend over. I go pray for those cancer patients. One's terminally ill, and one's, well, hopefully not anymore. But one was terminally ill, and one was just battling something, and then they had their boyfriends there. So he went over there and started praying for their healing, and da-da-da. And I'm getting ready to go on stage, and then I remembered, I don't start the stupid set. I play guitar, the drummer starts. So I go over there, I was like, hey, I know we prayed for your healing, but I just want to tell you the encounter with Christ that I had. That's the meaning of life, to encounter Him. To encounter Him. Do you guys want to encounter Him? Let's all ask to encounter. They're like, yeah. So all of them right there, the group on the stage before the Korn concert, they're like, Lord Jesus, come into my life. Forgive me of everything. I want to encounter you. I want to know that you're. So I bring her on stage. I bring the two girls on stage closer. I go out. And I think signs and wonders, like all kinds of things God will do in different ways. I look down on my pedal board. There's a white fluffy feather right there, and I took it to my friend. And the girl that was terminally ill had wings on her shirt, and as artwork. And she was like looking at that as a sign. She wasn't even a believer, and she was looking at that as a sign from God that there's angels there. Wow. And so after the show, I'm just feeling it on stage, at this concert. After the show, we go back. I'm like, come hang out with us, and we took the people back there just to hang out, and I saw Marilyn Manson right there, and he preaches against the stuff that I believe in and hold in my heart, Jesus and all that, but what he is a man in my industry that was been hurt by religion, and not to get. I don't know all the details, but I look at him as an old friend that I toured with. Even though he's against what I love and everything, I still love him back. Isn't that what Jesus did? So anyway, I was just with all the cancer patients and their boyfriends, and I saw him. I walked over to him. I said, hey man, I got some of these people that are suffering with cancer. Would you say hi to them? He's like, oh, sure. Just really cool. And I brought him over, and they were just scared to go up to him, and he goes, bring it in. And he started giving hugs to all these people, and the girls start crying, and they're just like in tears. And right then, like God, I knew God set that up because He was right there at the perfect time. And these people have been struggling, and He used Marilyn Manson, an old friend of ours, to just to make someone's life, a little better that night. And so it was just a really cool night, and it's so not typical, like what people think God is. It's just there's so much more that He wants to do. If we could just get out of our heads that we have to do it this way, and that
It's cool too when we don't label people. Treat everyone as if they're God's kids, because they all are. Everyone is.
Yeah,
right.
All of them. Yeah, totally.
Marilyn Manson's God's kid.
Yeah.
He might not agree with that. He might be like, dude, shut up.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
I haven't talked to him in like 20 years. He might believe that now more, but he's, and he's just doing, who knows? All I know is I don't care if he sees this or he doesn't see this. I love the dude, and I love everybody else, and I'm not offended by what anybody says. Just keep loving them, and love can conquer, can win over above everything, even persecution.
People are this far away from having their life totally transformed. And Jesus died for everybody. He died for everybody's sins. And if they would just come to Him like Brian and I and you did, and just say, take my life, run it.
Yeah.
I don't even want it anymore. What an adventure it is. Is this the most thrilling adventure you've ever been on?
Yes. I wanted to kill myself when I was on drugs. I wanted to kill myself. But what I did was I didn't throw my life away. I threw my life to Jesus. So I still ended my life. But I ended
way.
my life as it was. And I said, Jesus, I give you my life. I'm throwing my life to you.
Yep.
And now I'm living that life. And how good is he? He led me back to my life and has given me like double what I lost and everything. So.
Absolutely nuts. And
So awesome.
And we've been a witness to that, to see Brian lose everything, get everything back, and live this hilariously fantastic, adventurous lifestyle.
All right, so I think we're wrapping up here, but do we have time for one more?
One more question, then I want to ask him one last thing.
What do you? Okay, dude. Okay, so one last question, Brian, for you, and he's gonna ask you one more question, then we're gonna go to everybody's house individually and visit them that watched tonight. So
I don't know. I eat Wiener Schnitzel. I got diarrhea.
hey, Santa Claus can do it, dude. Come
They
on,
might not want me there.
no excuses.
Are you going to ask this question, or?
Yeah, let's do it. What are your personal boundaries? What are the personal boundaries you set for yourself while touring?
Only one A-ball a night. No more than that. That's my limit. No, I'm just joking.
That's
My
when somebody
boundaries?
just tuned in. Like they just.
Oh, yeah. That's not good. I joke a lot, so just loosen up. Have fun.
Sarcasm.
If you don't like joy, like my friend David says, you're going to hate heaven. So just loosen up.
What are your rules?
My rules?
2 rules.
My number one temptation is sugar. And I know you know what it's like.
Yeah.
Because you're a binge eating sugar dude too. And then I'm so healthy, and then I crash. And I'm like, it's like, I used to go off and do meth for 3 days, now I go off and do sugar for 3 days. You know,
Is
and
sugar
it's
a
like,
drug? Is it like a?
It is.
Like a sin?
It truly
Yes, it is.
Think so?
Chocolate almonds. It's a drug.
I mean, the sin's been dealt with, so I'm not even worried about that, but it's about being trapped, you know? And it's a trap that I fall in. So that's my biggest thing, that's my boundary. Stay away from the sugar, man, and the Wiener Schnitzel. And so what else? Was it?
I never been
the
on
only
drugs.
question? Like
Yeah,
boundaries?
no, that's.
I've never been on
legit.
drugs.
Stay away
but-
from sugar.
But what drugs couldn't be stronger than chocolate-covered almonds?
Right?
No way.
Oh,
no
man.
way. You know, we got to wrap it up. But what I want to hear from Brian, where are you going now? In the next few months, you know, where are you traveling at? What's going on? I know they want to hear that.
Okay, but I wasn't done with that.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. And then I don't like if there's some girl that's like getting a little crazy.
She's offering you sugar.
Yeah, she's offering me sugar. I gotta go. And if you know, I won't sign the boobies. And so there's boundaries like that, you know. And
That's good.
No
Good for
way. So I got to be clear like that. But
So ladies, just
so
no.
sugar.
Don't.
Ladies, you know, the drugs and the drinking, obviously. I can take a little bit of drunk people, but once they start spitting in my face when they're talking to me, I gotta go. And so that's about it.
We're laughing, but it's a good question. And honestly, you keep it simple. That's what I've.
Yeah.
Yeah, he lives in a world we don't live in. I never thought about signing somebody's boobies. I never thought of that. It never entered my mind.
That doesn't happen
I mean,
after
stuff
Wednesday
that
night service.
that you have to.
Well, it's probably the same like you. You go to porno conventions.
Oh, that's true.
And so you probably, when there's someone there talking and there's
That's true.
some, you know, some double D's or something, you're like, sorry, that's what they're called. Your eyes are focused on their eyes and
You know what
looking into
happens-
their spirit, and you know what I mean.
You know what happens
It's
at church that's the equivalent of that?
What?
Really long hugs. Like somebody will just grab, like a lady will just grab you.
That's our temptation.
And not like let go. And it's like. it gets
Josh, I
weird.
have to
It gets
qualify
awkward.
that.
Yeah.
You said I go to porn conventions. These people don't know me.
Okay, sorry. What do you do at porn conventions?
We have a booth at
man.
porn conventions. We have a spiritual booth.
You have 30
We give
seconds
away-
to explain this. So.
We give away Bibles. We give away Brian's book. We pray for people. I have a prayer board at the Vegas porn convention. So we don't go to enjoy it. We go to minister.
I figured that they would just assume that. Sorry, I forgot that we're dealing with.
They know we're weird. So, so where are we at? I mean, we're within an hour now.
It's been an hour. I think we should.
I want to know where he's going, what he's doing. I know they're going to want to know.
Yeah. So Brian, tell us what's next for you, man.
Okay, I'm gonna go to the ocean in the next few days with my daughter. She's got a week off. She just celebrated a party. I went to a party dressed up all. I had a suit, she had a dress, and all the kids at her boarding school, we just threw down and danced and partied and celebrated her year, you know, their year. And so some people graduated and the others just celebrated. So she has a week off now, and we're going to the beach, and we're just going to chill. Right now, I'm actually editing my book. It's called With My Eyes Wide Open. It's coming out next year, I believe May 2016, and it's about it's a really real and raw book, and it's about everything from me getting just annihilated by Christians and being stupid with my money, taken advantage of, losing millions of dollars, going through all kinds of lawsuits, moving to Nashville, starting my solo thing, looking at everything like growing and getting good, only to find out later that my daughter is falling into depression, suicidal thoughts, and self-harm, and then us getting through that and her becoming my biggest hero after watching her go through the biggest struggles. And just, God, like it says that, I like to say that God only tears down in order to rebuild. And he allowed my life to get torn down, and now he's rebuilding it back. And so it's a really cool book about just, if you just hang in there with God, he will give you double for your trouble and everything. And through all the trials and all the loss, you will become stronger than you've ever been. You'll be able to walk through any adversity. And when at the end of your life, and when you have to face with your, death with your family and yourself, you will be so strong in the Lord because of all the trials you went through. And this book is about that.
Wow.
So I'm really excited about this book, and it's coming out next year. It's too bad it's got to be a year before it comes out. But also, I Am Second Films, they're wrapping up a documentary. They filmed the whole celebration with Janaea, and I got the father-daughter dance on there and everything. Wow. And so they're going to wrap that up. So that's hopefully coming out next year. Me and Korn are writing a new album. Right now, we started last week. We already have half an album worth of awesome songs. So we're picking a producer right now, and that's basically what's going on. And my daughter's going to graduate high school next year, and
crazy.
It's just like, what?
If you're watching Janaea, congratulations. I mean, Janaea not only transformed on the inside. When I saw her, I thought she looked like a Hollywood movie starlet. I mean, she transformed on the inside and the out. You ought to be very proud of her.
I'm so proud.
Beautiful young lady.
And I was at that place where, like a couple of years ago, I was like, man, I prayed, God, just hold her special in your heart and carry her all the way and protect her. And when she fell, I was like, I had a choice. I was like, just give the finger to God and be like, wow, you just let me down so bad. Or just sit there and wait and do everything I can by his leading to get to where she is now. And I decided to wait and not walk away, and he turned it around for good. It was a test of faith, It was a test of faith. I could have threw it all away, but if you people, when everything looks like everything's lost, if you just wait, it's a test of your faith, and God will just totally transform everything. But people give up, and they don't make it through the test, and it's so sad.
They throw the towel in right before the victory comes. And again, Brian, this is another point we need to declare, because see, you were praying about it, and you knew what you were supposed to do with your daughter. I wasn't praying about it, and I'm going, whoa. So often we have to move with that. And you heard God, no doubt about it. And Josh, before we go to, I want to mark the calendar. This is a friend of Brian's and mine. June 28th, we're having Annie Lobert, Hookers for Jesus. And we're going to have her in the same studio, or it might even be in Ventura.
Yeah, I think we have a graphic up.
June 28th, Annie Lobert, Hookers for Jesus. That's a friend of yours too. And so, wow, Brian, so proud of you. And I'm so happy that I could be a part of your life. I mean, that was an honor. Why God chose me to let me play that part, wow. And I just appreciate you and love you so much.
I'm so glad that you sent me to this church. I mean, I might have ran away if it was somewhere else, so I'm just thankful for you guys. Thank you for being there for me, and thank you for letting me make my mistakes and grow my wings and fly out of the nest and fall flat on my face, because I needed to get stronger. That's the only way to get stronger. So I honor this place, and I can't wait to see where you guys are going to be in 10 years, physically, mentally, and spiritually. So,
well, we love you, man. You're part of our family, and I want to thank everybody for joining.
Yeah, thank you guys. Sorry we didn't get to all of your questions, but thank you guys for tuning in. And Brian, again, thanks, man.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it. So we'll see you guys the next show, June 28th. So
yep.
Okay. See ya. Bye-bye.
See you guys later. Thanks for coming in.